Your leadership journey begins with your personal philosophy. Everything you achieve, everything you build, everything you inspire, it all starts with how you see the world and how you see yourself in it. That's what we call your philosophy. And make no mistake, your philosophy is not just a collection of thoughts. It's the compass of your life. It directs your decisions, your attitude, your habits, and ultimately your results. Now here's what I've learned. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your philosophy. If you want to grow as a leader, you have to re-examine the set of ideas you hold to be true, because those ideas are shaping your behavior whether you realize it or not. A poor philosophy will drag down even the most talented individual, while a strong, empowering philosophy can lift even the most ordinary person into an extraordinary leader. Your personal philosophy is built through your environment, your education, your experiences, and most importantly, your evaluation. You see, you've got to do the thinking. You've got to evaluate, is what I believe really serving me? Is the way I view people helping me connect, or is it creating barriers? Is my belief about success opening doors or keeping me stuck in comfort? Leaders don't just live reactively, they think intentionally, they reflect, they grow, they redesign their belief system to match the kind of person they want to become. Now, someone might say, Jim, I just lead a small team. That doesn't matter. Whether you lead one person or 1,000, the responsibility is the same. Your thinking must be bigger than your current situation. Because here's the truth. You don't lead others with your title. You lead them with your example. And your example is just the expression of your philosophy. If you believe people are capable of growth, you'll lead with encouragement. If you believe that trust is more valuable than control, you'll build a culture of openness. If you believe that leadership is service, you'll spend your energy lifting others, not keeping them beneath you. Let me put it this way. Your leadership begins long before you enter the room. It begins in how you think, the thoughts you allow, the beliefs you reinforce. Those are seeds, and what you plant, you will reap. Plant small thinking and you get small results. Plant blame and you get resentment. But plant ownership, plant vision, plant optimism, and watch how your influence expands. One of the biggest changes in my life came when I decided to upgrade my thinking. I used to blame circumstances. I'd say, well, if the company paid me more, or if the economy was better, or if people weren't so difficult. But then I realized something. Nothing changes until I change. The moment I accepted that, I stepped into leadership. Because real leaders don't wait for the weather to change. They learn how to adjust their sails. So how do you change your philosophy? You start by feeding your mind with better ideas. You read, you listen, you ask questions. You spend time with people who think in ways that stretch you, and you stay teachable. One of the most dangerous positions a leader can take is to assume they've arrived. No. The moment you stop learning, you stop leading. Let me remind you, leadership is not a position, it's a mindset. You can lead from the front of the line or from the back of the room. If you think like a leader, if you think about growth, service, responsibility, and legacy, you will become the kind of person others want to follow. You'll become magnetic, not because you have all the answers, but because you have the right attitude. And if you do this consistently, if you invest daily in building a strong personal philosophy, you'll find that everything else gets easier. Decisions become clearer. Challenges become opportunities. Mistakes become lessons. And your path becomes more purposeful. Because now, you're not just reacting to life, you're leading it. So my challenge to you is simple. Review your philosophy. Ask yourself, is this way of thinking helping me become a better leader? If the answer is no, then it's time to upgrade. Because when you change your philosophy, you change your direction. When you change your direction, you change your destiny. Discipline is the foundation upon which all lasting leadership is built. It's not something glamorous, not something that draws applause or headlines, but it is the invisible force that holds everything together. Without discipline, talent is wasted, opportunities are missed, and potential remains just that, potential, never realized. Discipline is what transforms vision into reality and goals into achievement. For every aspiring leader, discipline is not optional, it's essential. Now, what is discipline? Discipline is the ability to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. That's it. It's the daily choice to act in alignment with your values and your goals, even when distractions call, even when excuses whisper, even when no one is watching. And let me tell you, that's when leadership is truly forged, not in the spotlight, but in the quiet, repetitive moments of doing what matters most. Leadership is not a single act. It's a series of consistent behaviors, repeated over time. And that consistency comes only from discipline. You can have a great strategy, a powerful vision, even a magnetic personality, but if you lack discipline, you will fall short. Because leadership requires reliability. People follow those they can trust, and you can't be trusted if you're not consistent. And you can't be consistent if you're not disciplined. I remember hearing early on in my life, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. And isn't that the truth? The price of discipline is paid today. The pain of regret is paid forever. You skip the morning routine once, it feels like nothing. Skip it a week, you've lost momentum. Skip it a month, you've lost direction. And the same applies in every area: health, learning, business, relationships. The undisciplined leader begins to lose the very things they once valued. Well, here's the powerful part. Discipline can be learned. It's not a gift. It's not something you either have or you don't. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You start with small wins. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's making that difficult call you've been avoiding. Maybe it's sticking to a reading schedule. Whatever it is, the key is repetition. Stack one disciplined action on top of another, and soon you build momentum. And once you have momentum, things begin to change. You begin to change. You see, leadership isn't about forcing others to be disciplined. It's about modeling discipline so clearly, so consistently that others are inspired to follow. When your team sees you show up early, stay focused, follow through, stay calm under pressure, they take notice. And they start to model that behavior. That's the power of discipline. It creates culture. And culture, not policy, is what drives real results. Another thing discipline gives you is clarity. When you are disciplined, your mind becomes sharper. You waste less time. You eliminate distraction. You operate with focus. That's why some people seem to get so much done. It's not that they have more time, it's that they're more disciplined with their time. They don't chase everything, they pursue the right things. As a leader, you will face adversity. You will face fatigue, frustration, and even failure. In those moments, talent will not be enough. Emotion will not be enough. But discipline will carry you through. It gives you the strength to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. It gives you the courage to keep showing up when the results aren't visible yet. That's why I say discipline equals destiny. Because your destiny is not something you stumble into, it's something you walk into, one disciplined step at a time. And remember, discipline is not about being rigid or robotic. It's about being intentional. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. You won't get it right every day, but you stay the course, you recommit, you realign. That's what great leaders do. They discipline their disappointments and keep moving forward. So, if you're aspiring to lead, start by mastering yourself. Discipline your thoughts, your habits, your schedule. Show up with excellence in the small things, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And over time, your discipline will speak for you. It will earn you respect. It will build your reputation. And it will open doors that talent alone could never reach. Decide today that you won't let comfort run your life. Choose discipline. And one day you'll look back with gratitude that you paid the price, because you'll be living the life only discipline could deliver. Learning is the foundation of leadership. It is the beginning of wealth, the beginning of wisdom, and the beginning of lasting influence. Everything you want to become as a leader begins with your willingness to learn, consistently, intentionally, and humbly. You cannot grow beyond what you know, and you cannot lead others into a future you have not yet studied, understood, and envisioned. That's why every aspiring leader must make learning a lifestyle, not an event. The moment you decide to stop learning is the moment you begin to stop leading. Why? Because the world changes, people change, challenges evolve, markets shift. And if your knowledge stays stuck in yesterday, you'll be irrelevant tomorrow. But the leader who learns stays sharp. The leader who learns adapts. The leader who learns remains valuable, not because they know everything, but because they're willing to grow through anything. Leadership begins with curiosity. The best leaders are not the ones who act like they know it all. They're the ones who ask better questions. They dig deeper. They wonder why things are the way they are and how they could be better. They are students of success, students of failure, students of human behavior. They're always watching, reading, listening, analyzing. They know that ideas are the seeds of transformation. And every good idea begins with a question and a search for understanding. Now, here's something important. Formal education can make you a living, but self-education can make you a fortune. What you learn in school may get you started, but what you learn beyond the classroom will determine how far you go. And this is good news, because it puts the power in your hands. You don't have to wait for permission to grow. You don't need a degree to develop wisdom. You need discipline, commitment, and the humility to say, I don't know it all, but I can learn. You see, knowledge compounds. The more you learn, the more connections you make, ideas begin to stack on each other, and suddenly, problems that once seemed complex start to look solvable. Learning gives you an edge. It allows you to see patterns others miss, avoid mistakes others make, and seize opportunities others ignore. That's what separates leaders from the average. They've developed their minds, they've invested in themselves, they've made learning a part of their identity. But here's the key. You must not only learn, you must apply. Learning without action is like having a map but never taking the trip. Leaders don't just collect information, they turn it into insight. They practice what they learn. They test it, refine it, and share it. Learning that transforms your leadership is the kind that moves from the head to the heart and then to the hands. It becomes part of how you live, not just something you know. And let me say this, not all learning comes from books. Some of the greatest lessons come from people. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every conversation is a chance to grow. If you listen more than you speak, you'll be amazed how much you can learn. That's why great leaders are also great listeners. They don't rush to dominate a room, they tune in. They learn from mentors, peers, team members, and even critics. Sometimes, especially from critics. Don't wait until you're in a position of leadership to start learning. Start now. Prepare in the dark before the spotlight ever finds you. Read books that challenge you. Attend seminars that stretch you. Watch how other leaders lead. Take notes. Reflect on your mistakes. Learn from your wins and your losses. Every day is school, and life is the classroom. And remember, it's not just about learning new things. It's about relearning the things that matter. Sometimes leadership means going back to the basics: discipline, vision, service, communication. As you grow, those things take on new meaning. Keep coming back to them with fresh eyes, and you'll find deeper levels of mastery. So, if you want to be a leader worth following, make learning your top priority. Because when you stop learning, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, your influence begins to fade. But when you commit to learning, truly commit, you become a leader with depth, with insight, and with the power to create real change. Decide today to become a lifelong learner. Fill your mind with wisdom, your heart with understanding, and your hands with action. Because learning is not just the beginning of leadership, it's the fuel that sustains it. Character is the ultimate currency of leadership. It's not your position, your achievements, or your charisma that determines your impact. It's your integrity, your values, and your consistency when no one is watching. Titles may impress people for a while, but it is your character that earns their trust for a lifetime. In a world where appearances are often valued more than substance, a leader with strong character stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. People are drawn to them, not because they are perfect, but because they are principled. Leadership begins with who you are, not just what you do. Your actions are an extension of your inner world. And if that world is not grounded in strong character, it won't be long before cracks appear on the surface. A leader without character may rise quickly, but they will fall even faster. Without a foundation of honesty, humility, and responsibility, no structure of leadership can last. Just like a building, if the foundation is weak, it doesn't matter how beautiful the exterior is, it will eventually collapse. Character is built in the small decisions of daily life. It's the choice to tell the truth when lying would be easier. It's the willingness to take responsibility when blaming someone else would be more convenient. It's staying late to get the job done, even when no one is there to applaud you. These moments may seem insignificant, but they are the building blocks of trust. And trust is the glue that holds teams, organizations, and communities together. You don't develop character in a crisis, you reveal it. A crisis simply exposes what's already inside. That's why it's so important to develop your character long before the pressure comes. Don't wait for the storm to figure out if your anchor is secure. Build it now. Be honest in small things, and you'll be ready when the big tests come. Be faithful with small responsibilities, and you'll be trusted with greater ones. Leaders with strong character don't need to shout to be heard. Their presence commands respect, not because of fear, but because of credibility. They lead not through manipulation, but through example. They don't just talk about values, they live them. And when they make mistakes, because all leaders do, they own them. They apologize sincerely. They learn, they improve, and they move forward without hiding or pretending. It's easy to confuse reputation with character. Reputation is what others think of you. Character is who you really are. Reputation can be shaped by perception, but character is shaped by principle. You can fool people for a while with charm, talent, or a polished image, but over time, your character will tell the truth. It will either elevate your leadership or undermine it. Character also means doing the right thing even when it costs you. Sometimes integrity will mean losing a deal, walking away from an opportunity, or standing alone. But in those moments, you're not losing, you're investing. You're investing in long-term credibility, in self-respect, and in the kind of leadership that lasts. Because people remember how you made them feel, how you treated them when you didn't need to impress them, and whether you kept your word when it was difficult. In leadership, the temptation to cut corners will always be there. The opportunity to compromise just a little, to take the easy road instead of the right one, it will show up again and again. But every time you choose character over convenience, you strengthen your leadership muscle. You become more resilient, more respected, and more effective. Over time, those small choices compound, and you become the kind of person people look up to, not just for what you've accomplished, but for who you are. Great leaders understand that their legacy is not measured in profits, followers, or awards. It is measured in the lives they touch, the trust they build, and the example they leave behind. And that legacy is rooted in character. Not the character you display when the cameras are on, but the character you live out when no one is looking. So, if you want to lead in a way that makes a real difference, start by cultivating your character. Be honest, be humble, be accountable. Choose courage over comfort, principles over popularity. Because in the end, the most powerful thing you can bring to the table as a leader is not your resume. It's your integrity. When character leads, everything else follows. True leadership is not given by title, authority, or position. It is earned through influence. And influence, unlike power, cannot be demanded. It must be developed. It must be cultivated through action, through example, through the way you make others feel, and the way you help them see themselves. You can be promoted to a position of leadership, but real leadership begins when people choose to follow you, not because they have to. That's when you know influence is at work. Influence is built in the quiet moments. When you keep your word, when you listen with intent, when you treat people with respect regardless of their title or status. It's built when people see your consistency, your work ethic, your values. It's not something you achieve once and for all. It's something you earn every day. And that's what makes influence powerful. It's not a sign by someone else. It's a result of who you are and how you lead. Aspiring leaders must understand that trying to control people does not build influence. Control creates fear, and fear may produce compliance, but it will never produce commitment. Influence, on the other hand, inspires people to act, not because they're forced to, but because they're motivated to. And that's a game changer. When people are influenced by you, they don't just follow instructions. They carry the vision as their own. One of the greatest sources of influence is your example. People are always watching, and they learn far more from what you do than what you say. If you expect excellence from your team, be excellent yourself. If you want honesty, be transparent. If you value effort, show up early and stay committed. That's where real influence begins, when your life becomes the message. It's not about charisma, it's about credibility. Credibility is a currency that grows slowly and can be lost quickly. You earn it by being dependable, by showing up, by treating people fairly, by owning your mistakes. And when people trust your words, believe in your actions, and respect your values, your influence expands. You'll find that people start coming to you, not just for direction, but for inspiration. They'll seek your insight because they know it comes from integrity. Another key ingredient of influence is empathy. Leadership without empathy is hollow. If people don't believe you care about them, they won't care about your vision. Empathy doesn't mean being soft, it means being present. It means understanding where others are coming from and making the effort to connect with their perspective. Influential leaders ask, how can I serve you? How can I support your growth? And in doing so, they gain something far more powerful than obedience. They gain loyalty. Influence also requires clarity. People will not follow a foggy leader. They need to know where you're going, why it matters, and how they fit into the journey. Clarity doesn't mean having all the answers. It means being honest about the direction and open about the process. When you can clearly articulate purpose and direction, people will lean in. They'll commit because they can see how their work matters. But influence is not just about those below you. It also applies to your peers, your leaders, your community. The ability to influence sideways and upward is what distinguishes average managers from true leaders. And it all comes down to the same principles: consistency, respect, value, and trust. Influence moves in every direction when your character supports it. That's very important. It's important to remember that influence is not a tool for manipulation. It's not about getting people to do what benefits you. It's about helping people see what's possible for themselves, for the team, for the mission. It's about elevating others. And when you use your influence to lift people higher, they don't just follow you, they begin to believe in themselves more because of you. That's the kind of leadership that changes lives. So if you want to be a leader worth following, focus less on asserting authority and more on earning trust. Ask yourself daily, am I the kind of person others want to follow? Build your influence through service, through empathy, through authenticity. Vision is the lifeblood of leadership. Without vision, leadership is aimless, reactive, and shallow. Vision gives meaning to effort, direction to energy, and purpose to persistence. It is the mental picture of a better future that pulls people forward, even when the path is unclear and the road is hard. A leader without vision may keep people busy, but only a leader with vision can lead people somewhere significant. That's why every aspiring leader must learn not only to have vision, but to cast it, carry it, and commit to it. Vision starts within. Before you can share a vision with others, you must be captured by it yourself. It has to be rooted in your convictions, your values, and your deep understanding of what matters most. Vision is not just about setting goals or predicting trends. It's about imagining what could be and having the courage to pursue it, even when others don't yet see it. It requires imagination, but also courage, because every great vision will be tested by doubt, delay, and difficulty. We're going to walk through this very pragmatic vision of how to optimize your performance for the workplace and get your workforce. A real leader doesn't wait for the perfect moment to form a vision. The vision is not always born in moments of clarity. It often comes out of struggle, frustration, or a hunger for change. The leader sees what's missing, what's broken, what's underdeveloped, and instead of complaining, they envision a solution. They begin to build that picture in their mind and heart until it becomes a fire that cannot be ignored. But having a vision is only the beginning. A leader must also learn to communicate that vision clearly, repeatedly, and passionately. If people can't see what you see, they won't follow. And many leaders fail, not because their vision wasn't good, but because it wasn't communicated effectively. You have to speak it in a way that connects to people's values, their hopes, their role in the story. People don't rally around ideas, they rally around meaning. Make the vision meaningful. It's not enough to shout the vision from a stage once and expect results. Vision has to be woven into the culture, reinforced in decisions, and modeled in behavior. The leader becomes the steward of the vision, protecting it from distraction, distortion, and discouragement. There will always be moments where it's tempting to drift, to play it safe, or to scale back the dream. But the leader must hold the line. Vision without persistence becomes a daydream. Vision with commitment becomes a movement. A compelling vision also gives people a reason to endure the hard times. When the work gets tough, people don't need more rules, they need more reasons. If they can connect what they're doing today with where they're going tomorrow, they'll dig deeper. They'll find strength they didn't know they had. That's why great leaders never stop pointing to the bigger picture. They remind people that the pain has a purpose and the journey is worth it. Vision inspires action, but it also demands alignment. As a leader, you must ensure that the vision is not only inspiring, but also actionable. That means building strategies, structures, and systems that support the vision, not just admire it. It means saying no to good things so you can say yes to the best things. It means removing distractions, clarifying priorities, and measuring progress. Vision is not just a speech, it's a standard. And let's not forget, vision is not static, it evolves. As you grow, as your team matures, and as the world changes, your vision may expand or adapt. That's not a sign of failure, it's a sign of growth. But the core, the heart of it, must remain intact. The leader must know what cannot change, what must endure. Vision gives you flexibility without losing focus. The most powerful visions are not self-serving, they're bigger than the leader. They include others, they elevate others. A true visionary leader invites people into something that outlives them, something that creates legacy, not just success. People want to be part of something significant. They want to know their work matters. And when you cast a vision that brings purpose, possibility, and progress, you unlock something powerful inside them. So, if you want to lead well, don't just manage the present, shape the future. Dream boldly, think deeply, speak clearly, and live with conviction. Let your vision guide your steps, fuel your resilience, and inspire your team. Because in the end, it's not just about where you're going. It's about who's going with you and what you're all building together. Communication is the bridge between vision and reality, between intention and understanding. It is the tool through which leaders inspire, instruct, correct, and connect. Without effective communication, even the best ideas will fall flat, and even the most powerful visions will fail to mobilize people. A leader who cannot communicate clearly will always struggle to lead effectively, no matter how passionate or intelligent they are. That's why mastering communication is not optional for aspiring leaders. It's essential. Leadership communication isn't about sounding impressive or using big words. It's about being clear, authentic, and intentional. It's about saying what needs to be said in a way that moves people, not just intellectually, but emotionally. Words matter, tone matters, timing matters. Every message you share as a leader either builds trust or erodes it, either unites people or creates confusion. Communication isn't just what you say, it's how you say it, when you say it, and how consistently you live it. Great leaders are great listeners first. They understand that effective communication is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. They make space for others to speak, and they genuinely listen, not just to respond, but to understand. When people feel heard, they feel valued. And when they feel valued, they open up. This is how trust is built. And trust is the soil in which real communication grows. If you want to influence people, you must first show them that their voice matters. Clarity is one of the most underrated leadership tools. People don't follow what they don't understand. A leader's job is to make the complex simple, to bring structure to confusion, to take scattered thoughts and give them focus. Whether you're giving a speech, writing a memo, or holding a one-on-one conversation, aim for clarity. Don't hide behind vague statements or jargon. Be specific, be direct, say what you mean and mean what you say. Consistency in communication is another critical aspect. People are watching not only what you say, but whether you live it out. If your words and actions don't match, you'll lose credibility fast. Communication is not just verbal, it's behavioral. How you show up, how you handle stress, how you treat others. Those things speak louder than anything you say. Your life must echo your message. That's what gives your words weight. Emotional intelligence plays a huge role in leadership communication. You must be aware of not just what you're saying, but how it's being received. That means understanding the emotional state of your audience, being sensitive to timing and adjusting your message accordingly. Sometimes people need encouragement. Other times they need challenge. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Knowing the difference is what sets great communicators apart. Leaders who communicate well also know the power of storytelling. Facts inform, but stories transform. When you frame your message inside a story, you make it memorable and relatable. Stories touch the heart. They help people see themselves in the message. They create connection. So don't just give instructions. Tell stories of progress, stories of struggle, stories of transformation. Paint pictures with your words that people can see, feel, and believe in. Timing is also everything in leadership communication. A great message delivered at the wrong time can fall flat. A simple word spoken at the right moment can spark change. You must learn to read the room, sense the moment, and speak when it matters most. Sometimes it's not about having all the answers. It's about saying the right thing at the right time to keep people aligned and encouraged. Feedback is another form of communication that great leaders embrace. They don't just give it, they welcome it. They create an environment where feedback is normal, expected, and safe. Because when people are free to speak honestly, you learn faster, adapt quicker, and grow stronger as a team. Leaders who reject feedback close the door on growth. Leaders who invite it open the door to excellence. Lastly, never underestimate the power of encouragement. A few well-timed, sincere words of belief can change someone's life. Leaders who communicate hope, possibility, and belief lift people to higher levels of performance. Your words can be a mirror in which others see their potential. Use that power wisely. In the end, leadership rises and falls on communication. It's the tool that turns ideas into action, that builds bridges between people, and that brings clarity to chaos. If you want to lead with impact, learn to communicate with purpose. Speak truth, speak life, and speak with the intention of building others up. Because when your communication is clear, consistent, and full of conviction, people don't just hear your words, they follow your lead.